Auction Company Piper's upcoming July auctions include 33 acres of potential development land north of Bismarck on Highway 83, 800 acres of exceptional cropland in Ward County near Minot and Deering, North Dakota, 21-acre farmstead near Brookings, South Dakota, 622 acres of crop and pasture land in Renville County near Glenburn, North Dakota, and the Erickson Farm Retirement Auction near Hettinger, North Dakota. View these auctions and many more land and equipment auctions at pipers.com.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon. It's 1:06 right now. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm, and I'm here with Ag Director Bridgette Readel and our we had a third person, right? There was three of us. I could have swore.
Yeah, that guy. What is his name?
I thought it was Tim something. Huh. Well, we'll have to check into that.
Pretty sure it's Dean Wysocki, and he's gone again today, which is just fine. That tells me that he negotiated a better amount of vacation days than the rest of us did. So here we are, Justin. You and me, pal.
Yes, and we got lots of things in store for the show today. Lots of ag topics, a couple of interviews that we're going to get to throughout today. These are from when we were in Baltic, South Dakota for Hefty Seeds PhD Field Day, which was a lot of fun, but also super miserably hot. I can recap what that forecast was. We got CJ Parker. He's the North American Fertilizer Marketing Manager for Case IH, talking a little bit about residual management and some tilling options. And also we got one with Roger Rotario, North American Marketing Lead for New Seed. Going to be talking about some of their sunflower products and as well as their omega-3 program. So we're going to hit those two interviews throughout the course of the day. No guest today, but Bridgette, I think we're going to have plenty of fun talking about all sorts of other things for this afternoon. What do you say?
Well, because Dean did those pre-recorded interviews down at Hefty Seed Ag PhD Field Day, you and I are going to have a chance to kind of dissect them a little bit, talk about what's going on in each interview. We can preview what's happening for the rest of the week because we're still going to play yet another round of Where in the World Did Bridgette Go Today? We'll be doing that part a couple days this week. And above all, there's all sorts of headlines that we don't always get to. And anybody who's listening can go ahead and give us a call at 701-293-9000. That is our Red Wing Shoe Studio line, and they can send us emails, ag or weather at flagfamily.com. And we appreciate it when people do. In fact, on one of our morning shows this morning, I got some homework for tomorrow that I'll need to take care of. So thank you for reaching out, folks. We appreciate that. Yeah,
and some of the topics that we're going to attempt to get to today, Nestle's interest in ag supply. And we're also going to touch on some changes to the FAA drone regulations for farmers. Could be an interesting little topic right there that we'll dive into because that's becoming more widely adopted into agriculture, I'd say, whether it's for application or just surveying. There's a lot of practical uses for drone and drone surveillance technology that's been going on. Yeah, what else we got here? Oh, we get to talk about Ukraine again and some plans on the Ukrainian grain. So interesting to see what's changed over there. I'm going to take a wild stab at it and say Russia sent another missile. Ukraine will not be getting what they thought out of the ports. Did I sum that up pretty good, Bridgette? Why don't we just hit that one really quick and just get it out of the way?
Well, all right. So you sort of did. And here's that's a big part of it, right? Okay, so ports are a problem. And we've known that for quite a while. In fact, that Ukrainian area has really had to use a critical route of the Danube River in order to move a lot of their grain. And when I say grain, I don't just mean wheat. We can be talking about corn, sunflower oil as well. That's a number of the products that would move out of Ukraine. And it could be product that was raised in 22 that hasn't moved yet, as well as they are getting into harvest now for 2023. Now, river routes are still going to be open for them, but also road and rail through Europe. The downside is, and if we all recall, it wasn't all that long ago that Poland said, hey, no more stuff coming through us or no more being dropped off here because it was increasing their inventory and lowering their cost. And so Poland had a glut of product and their farmers were not getting a fair market price for it. That ban is set to expire in September. Meanwhile, the UN is trying to figure out what they can do to overcome these problems because they need to get that grain moved into the countries that need it most, African and Middle Eastern countries, and not impact the rest of the European Union's countries negatively as far as inventory and pricing. So not really a good spot for this to happen. People are working through it. We'll see what the plan might be soon enough, but that's kind of been the holdup that's going on for Ukraine right now. And remember,
I see. I
they're
didn't
not
even
even
think
producing
about
at full
rivers.
capacity yet. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I
we
got a
don't do a
couple
lot of barge
things.
traffic here. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So
What you got?
I'm gonna throw you right on the spot here. I'm looking at a map
Okay.
of Ukraine right now, and I can't
Oh, come
pronounce
on. We
any
get
of
maps
these
now?
river names. All right, what do we got? We got the Dniester River, the
Okay.
Prypyal River, the Teterev, the Densna, the Dnipro. Any of these rivers ring the bell to you? You know any of the rivers that they might be utilizing?
We're going to need a geography major to call in because without seeing them, um, without seeing them and going just on your pronunciation, no. My German
So,
Russian was not good.
all right, so we got a couple of rivers near Kiev,
Mm-hmm.
and one of what looks to be their main river flows into Belarus. So I'm imagining that
Mm-hmm.
that is not an option for them. They have the Zakonidru River that flows into Poland, but it's only accessible in far western Ukraine, and the Dniester,
Right.
which also
Mm-hmm.
flows into Poland. And
Right.
yeah, so they got two routes into Poland, and they're both really only accessible in far western Ukraine. Here was my
Right.
other thought with this. You had said
Okay.
when it was coming to the exports of their grain, whether it was in storage, the stuff that from last year or the year before that hasn't moved yet, what happens if they run into a situation where they haven't been able to clear inventory from years past and they have
Mm-hmm.
nowhere to store this year's stuff? Of course, they're 50% of what they're expected to be growing, so maybe that's not going to be an
Sure.
issue in the first place. But could storage become an issue for them in that case where they really don't have anywhere else to put the grain that hasn't moved?
Absolutely. Let's consider that facilities may have been bombed, whether on farm or public storage, right? So if you're at an elevator or a facility like that, so any of that is possible. Hopefully, it is not the case, but that can indeed be the situation. They can do on the ground storage like we do in some cases. You know, around here we've got bunkers, and especially as you go further south into South Dakota and Iowa, you'll see on the ground storage. But you always run the risk of much faster decay of that grain when it's sitting outside like that. And there's a couple of reasons for it. If you don't tarp those piles, you can see breakdown because of rain, because of snowfall. If you have wildlife that crawl up on the piles and want to eat, and then they leave a trail, that's also not
Yeah,
good for the grain. So
little
all
bonus
of those
chocolate
reasons can,
chips.
that's not what I was going for. But all of those things can hamper what's going on. So you're right. There can easily be a way that you run out of storage space if it's been decimated through this war.
Here's another thing, and it's something I'm
Okay.
interested in for practices done here in the United States, but likely also being done over in Ukraine. Um, I'm assuming this is coming a lot like kitchen products. When you make a new sauce, a new soup, uh, you bake a new roast, you don't store 2023 crops with 2022 or 2021 crops inside of a bin. Is that correct? Or can you just keep on
Well,
throwing, topping it off?
okay. So yes and no. Is your grain quality the same? Right? Do you have wetter moisture crop versus drier? Do you have different test weights that you want to be blending it? So there, you got to put that into some consideration before you just start dumping things
Mm-hmm.
together. What's the storage quality of that grain before you merge it? Now, I'm
I
not a grain
see.
merchandiser, but that's the things that come to mind for me right off the top of my head.
Right. And I'm imagining if you're running into this situation where you got nowhere to store grain, you're just going to do what needs to get done and just top off anything that's half full from 1 or 2 years ago.
You're going to try, right? You're going to look for places
Mm-hmm.
to put grain whenever you can. And there are years where we have bumper crops here in the States, and we'll save grain as long as we can, as long as it stays in good storage condition. I've had farmers that stored durum wheat for 10, 12 years until the price got back up and high, and then they pulled it out of the bins and
Oh,
sold it for a
wow,
better
look at
price.
that. So that was my next question. How long can you store different types of crops? I mean, I'm sure it depends,
Sure.
but 5, 10, 20 years, what's that look like?
Yeah, there are some that you certainly can, but again, as long as you keep them in good condition so they aren't overly wet, because
Hmm.
remember, wet grain produces its own heat. I've seen bins that actually turn brown or blackened on the outside because there was too much heat pressure inside of them, and it's literally like cooking inside that bin. So you got to keep you got to keep your moisture. You got to watch your temperatures. There's a lot of reasons why you would have aeration fans on a bin to blow air through there to keep the quality good, and you don't want bugs to get inside. Many bins get fumigated to keep pests from burrowing their way in there and destroying the grain as well. So look at that.
Hmm.
We got a lot of stuff we got to keep track of just to keep the
All
grain
interesting
safe
things.
once you harvested it.
Who would have
Yeah, we
guessed
got a lot
that
of things
talking
to
about
do.
grain in Ukraine would lead to trying to name the rivers of Ukraine and how much grain you can store for how long? That's interesting. Well, thanks, Bridget. Learned a
Okay.
couple of things there.
Well, part of that reason is because, we've been doing this show together now for a year, not quite a year and a half, I would say. Dude, you're
Yeah,
asking great
somewhere around there.
questions. You're learning stuff all the time. I mean, I'm not really afraid that when I'm not here that you aren't going to take a stab at a few things and completely be on track.
I like to
There.
think I pick up a few things here and there. I'm just a weather
You
guy. Who
do.
would have guessed I knew a little bit about farming?
That's what I'm working on your agronomic degree whenever I can.
We'll just get one of those honorary you graduated plaques from insert university here or insert program here, an honorary graduate.
Some people
Give it a
got them
couple
from
more
Chubb's Pub
years.
when they graduated from NDSU. So I guess you can get a degree from a lot of places.
Ah, perfect. Even if it's not authentic, we can still just slap it on there.
Absolutely. So, yes, and we're going to continue things like that as we go on today. Additionally, again, as Justin mentioned, we've got a couple of pre-recorded interviews from last week in Baltic, South Dakota. We're going to use those, but then Justin and I are going to talk about them after the fact and answer all of our questions to go along with them. So, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Shane with Irie Insurance. To get the splash, you risk the crash. To get the zoom, you risk the boom.
Oh my, look out! Whoa!
So, all you water lovers, make sure that you're covered. Come see us. Protect your assets and put your mind at ease with quality recreational coverage from Irie Insurance. We've got the policy you need at a price you can afford, so you can brave the waves and enjoy the waters worry-free. Visit us at IrieInsurance.com.
Hotworks Fitness Center in Moorhead is now open. Get a tour of the brand new facility just off Highway 10 next to Target in Moorhead. You'll find unique infrared workout sessions including yoga, Pilates, cycles, and my favorite, Hot Blast. Great for weight loss, improved circulation, and detoxification. There are so many benefits of the Hotworks Fitness Center. Get a tour today and get to the healthier you. Find Hotworks Fitness Moorhead on Facebook. Now open. Now open.
You go with what works, you trust your experience, and make decisions based on proven results. That is why ag producers like you have chosen Dakota Bank for over half a century and made us one of the largest ag lenders in the nation. Hi, I'm Chad Prewy, ag banker with Dakota Bank in Fargo. No matter the challenges, we are here to help you navigate the highs and lows to grow your business by financing your operating needs, improve your land, or purchase equipment. We all rely on you, and we're just happy to return the favor. Go with allies, go with trust, go with Dakota Bank. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, trust and insurance are not FDIC insured.
Boost your crop's health with Domark 230ME and Badge SC fungicide exclusively from Gowan, USA. Domark's systematic action teams up with Badge's outstanding mixing properties for unbeaten disease control on sugar beets, dried edible beans, and canola. Experience the power of two different modes of action with Domark and Badge. Don't wait. Contact your local ag retailer and ask about Domark 230ME and Badge SC. Always read and follow label directions from Gowan, USA.
Harley-Davidson Fargo is now an authorized Royal Enfield motorcycle dealer. Take a shot of motorcycling with Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield motorcycles have been in production since 1901 and have now hit the town. Fargo's Royal Enfields are located inside Harley-Davidson of Fargo. That's right, the new kid in town, Fargo Royal Enfield, is on the showroom floor of Harley-Davidson of Fargo. From Royal Enfield's Hunter 350 to the International 650, Royal Enfields are true mid-size cruisers with retro styles and modern features. Brand new Royal Enfields start at $4,458 and come with a 3-year warranty. Royal Enfields are mid-size bikes for people who love motorcycles and love motorcycling. Stop by Fargo Royal Enfield today and take a test ride now. Visit FargoRoyalEnfield.com to see inventory, both new and pre-owned. Value your trade and get approved for financing. Fargo Royal Enfield, inside Harley-Davidson of Fargo.
Attention job seekers, check this out. Plains Grain and Agronomy is busy and is hiring more team members for their locations at Enderlin, Marion, and Mott, North Dakota. Hiring for the following positions: Class A truck driver, custom applicator, general laborer, and precision ag service technician. They're hiring immediately, full-time, with great pay and great benefits. Join the Plains Grain and Agronomy team online at plainsgrain.com. Ripley's in Earhart has a great job opportunity for you. Ripley's is now hiring directional drill operators, backhoe operators, and plow operators. Your career opportunity is waiting in the utility construction, directional boring, fiber optic splicing, and fiber to the home industry. Apply online at ripleys-inc.com or call Ripley's for an immediate interview. 218-842-5322.
And welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, and I want to make sure to give a great big thank you to some of our sponsors for our Here We Grow project. And for those who haven't noticed, we are custom farming 20 acres of soybeans near Prosper, North Dakota, and we have been working in conjunction with our farmer cooperator, Jim Hewlin. We have seed from Peterson Farm Seed. Again, they are indeed the region's largest independent seed company. We appreciate the work that they have done with us, also making sure their seed agronomist takes a look at the field. They've invited us into their seed plant as they were bagging seed. They've done so very much for this project, and thank you to Peterson. And then also to Ellingson Drainage. They also allowed us to come on out to their place and check things out. We got a chance to see the drain tile and dispel the myths of what does drain tile really look like? And what other projects does Ellingson work on? And the most surprising statistic to me was that less than 10% of the Red River Valley currently has drain tile underneath it. And for those of you who want to know what those two facilities look like, join us on our WDAY Facebook page or YouTube page, where you can see our Here We Grow project and our segments that we did with each one of those sponsors. My co-host, Justin Storm, meteorologist extraordinaire. What's the weather look like this week for our lovely little soybeans on our 20 acres? How's that going?
Well, it looks a bit on the warm side, but overall good, and many chances for rain, which is awesome. And by many chances, I mean a pretty good shot on Tuesday and what looks like a pretty good shot overnight Friday into the first half of the day on Saturday. Both chances look like we should be able to get at least some rain out of it, and there is some potential where maybe a few people could get a little bit more than they might want.
Okay, so you're saying,
right here.
Yeah, you're saying keep an eye on these things. All right, I will be.
Yeah,
Got it.
keep an eye on tomorrow. It's the main threat for some people who might get a little too much rain, and maybe even a few people that get some wind damage and some hail damage, unfortunately, with a chance for severe weather tomorrow. But I don't really see much in the way for severe weather today. It is possible we could get a strong storm to pop off this afternoon, but I find it pretty unlikely. So we'll just call it partly cloudy to partly sunny for this afternoon. Temperatures are at 81 right now. We'll get more upper level clouds filling in from the west and north. And we'll hit high temperatures in the mid 80s with southeast winds around 5 to 15 for tonight, mid 60s for overnight lows, and we'll warm back to the upper 80s to near 90 on your Tuesday. But we could get a couple of isolated showers or storms in the early morning hours of tomorrow. Then we'll watch for scattered thunderstorms to develop throughout the afternoon and evening on your Tuesday. And like I said, a few of those storms could be on the strong to severe side, and the Storm Prediction Center for your Tuesday has issued a slight risk throughout most of North Dakota as well as northwestern Minnesota for scattered severe weather potential. So we'll keep an eye on that. Main concern is going to be wind and hail.
Oh my, that's not awesome.
Mhm.
Also, I would like to point out that we just had a comment from a viewer asking, where's Dean? He's not on the show today. Well, because this weather forecast sounds like we might get some hail on our 20 acres, the FBI won't tell us where he is until Justin and I can track him down. We'll have him back tomorrow so we can grill him intensely about the potential of storms. How's that sound?
He's installing all the hail magnets on his house so that way he can claim insurance and get new siding. That's what Dean's doing right now.
I just need shingles. Don't wreck my trees. That's all I'm asking for. Thank you, Jesus.
Oh, speaking of trees. So I had a nice conversation with Randy Nelson the other day, but when is he coming back on with us? We got him scheduled in the beginning of August before he starts his new gig.
Hold, please. We will see him next Friday, the 11th. As the keeper of the great schedule, I can tell you that.
A bunch of questions to ask old Randy. And for those who don't know who Randy Nelson is, you're probably new to listening to us because we have Randy on all the time with us. He's a Clay County Extension educator for Lawn and Garden Radio here on Weather and Ag in Focus. And he also makes a few guest appearances on the morning shows with Bonnie and Friends. And I believe the What's on Your Mind What's on Your Mind morning show over on our sister station, AM 1100, The Flag. But we'll be talking all about lawns, gardens, trees, everything in between. And I found out my maple tree has an iron deficiency, so we are working on treating that. So I might need your help.
Pump it up.
In getting some. What did he call this? I think he called it soy green or soybean green. Maybe does that ring a bell to you at all? Soy green.
Yes,
okay,
I know exactly what
that is because he recommended it.
Yes. So. Boy, there's an even better description if I call our friend of the show, Sarah Lovis, because she can fill us in on soy green. She's worked with that product extensively. Okay, so sometimes you know how things, you know it in your head, but you're like, how am I going to describe this? That's where I'm at. So I'll figure out the answer to soy green for you. I know we had an interview queued up, but hold please, because I just wanted to let you know it's a busy day with people who are listening. Also, one of our listeners, Chad, wants to know, Justin, do you think you could tell us the best area for rain in the Red River Valley? He is near Buxton and knows that it's very dry. Anything you want to give as far as a more localized forecast?
Oh, up by Buxton, eh? That's up in my stomping grounds.
Oh, you drive through it all the time.
So for Buxton, what you're looking at tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon, is a few scattered storms around the Grand Forks area, east, west, south, and north. It's not going to be a wide complex, but there will be several showers or storms that will develop by late morning to early afternoon and then track around the area. I'd say it'll probably favor the Minnesota side of the river. So if you farm east of the river tomorrow afternoon in northwestern Minnesota, you're looking like in a good spot. And then we'll just watch for a couple of isolated showers and storms through the rest of the day into the late evening. But I think we got a pretty decent shot coming in towards the end of the week. That's going to be Friday night into Saturday. We're going to get a low riding up from our south, and that's going to bring a good shot at wider spread rain up and down the Red River Valley, all across eastern North Dakota, as well as western Minnesota. So right now, Saturday, late Friday night, into early Saturday morning looks to be our best shot for some decent measurable rain. And of that system, it looks like we should be able to pull up about probably a ½ inch to 1.5 inches of rain out of that Saturday system. So something we'll definitely keep an eye on and give you the updates on. But storms tomorrow with those isolated storms, there could be some localized areas that could pick up over 3 inches of rain in a couple of hours. So if it comes over a good period of time, we'll be fine. But if it shows up in 1 hour, that might relate to a little bit of flooding or some flash flooding potential.
Okay. All right. Chad gives us a thumbs up that's going to work out fine. Your question about soy green, I actually am going to, man, it's a good thing I can text fast because to Jacob, who's answering the phone. Our friend Sarah Levis is going to call us, and we're going to hold her till the next segment on the phone line. She's going to help us talk about soy green. And Justin, we still have 2 recorded interviews we have to talk about today, so we got to hustle. We got a lot going on.
So it'll be a busy next 2 segments, and we hope you stick around with us. Again, if you want to call in, join the conversation, ask a comment or anything, 701-293-9000 is the Red Wing Shoes phone line. When we come back, we'll have Sarah on the line with us to tell us a little bit about soy green, and then we'll hit those 2 interviews with CJ Parker from Case IH and as well as Roger Rotario from New Seed. So all that and so much more on the way.
The Coffee Club with Janae and Ronnie.
Do you watch Wheel of Fortune every day?
Every evening, yes.
Oh, my.
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
a wheel watcher. Yeah.
Okay. Lions, camels, and elephants.
Oh, my.
I want to go back to the coastline. I don't care about this.
Ronnie, that's tiger, lions, and bears. Oh, my.
I know, right?
We are a lot more smarter, I would say.
A lot more smarter.
The Coffee Club, weekdays 8:30 to 11 on WDAY.
Hi, this is Kennedy Coulter, and DJ Coulter with American Family Insurance is my dad. As I get older, I realize how important my dad's job really is. All those times he had to take a work call when we were at the lake or in the gym, he really cares. He always puts his family first, but his clients are second. As his biggest and most difficult client, I can tell you for a fact he can handle any situation. Go to djcoulter.com and find out for yourself. That's djcoulter.com.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
There's a right way and a wrong way to fight off mosquitoes. Karate chopping the air, in a public place, in front of your kids, and their friends, Mom, is the wrong way. Using Stem mosquito repellent is the right way. Stem effectively repels mosquitoes by harnessing active ingredients found in plants, like lemongrass and peppermint, making it safe for use as directed around people and pets. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science, and embarrassment-free.
Hey, it's Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. Join me, Justin Storm, and Ag Director Bridgette Readel throughout the summer as we attempt to grow a crop of soybeans. We're calling it Here We Grow, and we'll be documenting what it takes to farm in the Red River Valley and beyond. Look for new videos every Friday on WDAYRadioNow.com, our YouTube channel, and social media pages. Here We Grow is brought to you in part by Ellingson Drainage, Gowan Company, and WDAY Radio.
A few weeks ago, Jay and I stopped into Comfort King Mattress Factory to check out the beds we've been hearing about. It was either that or counseling.
Yeah, and you know, when Mama doesn't sleep, not even the dogs are happy.
Since then, there's been no more tossing and turning. Jay sleeps like a baby, and when that 3 a.m. alarm goes off, I'm ready for the day.
Seriously, folks, our Comfort King mattress has been a game changer. If you haven't already checked them out, you have to stop by and see what the fuss is all about.
We love our Comfort King. Comfort King Mattress Factory, the original factory of the Dakotas. Sleep well, live well.
Hot Works Fitness Center in Moorhead is now open. Get a tour of the brand new facility just off Highway 10 next to Target in Moorhead. You'll find unique infrared workout sessions including yoga, Pilates, cycles, and my favorite, Hot Blast. Great for weight loss, improved circulation, and detoxification. There are so many benefits of the Hot Works Fitness Center. Get a tour today and get to the healthier you. Find Hot Works Fitness Moorhead on Facebook. Now open. Now open.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. 1:35 on this afternoon. Check on the forecast. 81 degrees, partly sunny. South winds at 9 miles an hour right now. We'll have another full look at that forecast coming up here in just a moment, but we'll hit highs near 85 today with southeast winds around 5 to 15 with a chance for storms tomorrow. Program phone number 701-293-9000 if you want to jump in on our conversation, ask any questions or anything, and we'll head over to the phone lines now because we have my favorite co-host, Sarah Levis, on the line with us, and she's going to tell us a little bit about soy green because Randy Nelson recommended it for my maple tree with an iron deficiency. So, Sarah, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. How's your day going?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing, Justin?
Hey, I am doing just well, but I have no idea what this thing is that Randy Nelson, Clay County Extension educator with Lawn and Garden Radio, recommended for my maple tree.
Well, Randy just made a really good recommendation with that. So soy green is an iron chelate fertilizer, and what that means. So there's some nutrients that are not very water soluble, and as you can imagine, if that nutrient isn't dissolved in water, the roots can't take it up, right? And so it needs to be kept in the soil solution. And what a chelate does is it keeps that non-soluble nutrient in solution so that the plant can take it up. And so what happens a lot with iron in our high pH soils right around the Fargo area is we tend to have situations that are difficult for certain plants to solubilize the iron on their own and extract it from the soil and take it up. And certain crops and certain plants are more sensitive to iron deficiencies than others. Maple trees are definitely one of them. Soybeans are. I know you guys are raising some soybeans this year. I don't know if your soybeans are staying nice and green this year or not, but that is something that we have to deal with. Is iron chlorosis in our soybean production all over the place. And so if you can put that soy green on your maple tree, it's going to help. And often you can find it as a powder. There are some other formulations available as well, but it does come in a powder formulation, and you can just sprinkle it around the grass, like right around your tree in a ring, and water it in. And now I will tell you this, it has a very similar chemistry to blood. And so it turns this like bright blood red color. And so once you water that in, it can be kind of a mess. And so you kind of want to make sure that, you don't walk on it and then like walk in your house, for example.
So, Sarah, you're telling me I shouldn't be using this when my cop neighbor is outside mowing his yard?
He might call a forensics team, yes.
I swear, it's iron.
Yes.
Suddenly, Sarah just turned us into ag. Sarah just turned us into ag CSI. I love this.
Yes, you are so welcome.
Oh, that's awesome, Sarah. Sarah, so thank you so much for calling in and telling me what to do and make sure my neighbor's not home when I use it.
Well, good luck. I hope you get that tree green.
Oh, I'm hoping so too. So we're going to transition now. We got a couple of interviews from down in Baltic that Dean took part in. We're going to play our first one here. It's with CJ Parker. He's the North American Fertilizer Marketing Manager for Case IH, talking a little bit about residual management and vertical tillage. So we're going to play that now for you, and then me and Bridgette will dissect that here in about 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, we're out here at Ag Days here in Baltic, South Dakota, and I'll tell you what, there's tons of exhibitors out here, and one of the people we're talking to today is CJ Parker. And CJ, what do you do exactly?
So I'm the North America and Pull-Type Fertilizer Marketing Manager for Case IH.
Okay. And tillage is what you kind of specialize in?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and tell us about some of the
residue management that you guys do?
So that's a great question, Dean, because it's a question we get from customers all the time because we offer a variety of different tillage tools. Right now we got our new 435 VT Flex with the adjustable gang angle. We have our 335 VT in Barracuda, and we offer our high-speed disc. And a lot of customers look at those tools, especially at a location today where we got the VT Flex and the speed tiller, and they're kind of scratching their heads. Which one do I want? Which one do I need? And I kind of always tell them, we need to start with the end in mind. What's your residue goals? What do you want that field finish to look like? How you want your residue buried, size, mixed? And then let's find a tool that'll fit your needs.
So the vertical tillage. Explain a little for people that don't know about that. Explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think if you talk to any manufacturer, everybody's got a little bit different definition of what they call vertical tillage. Mm-hmm. Of course, we have a blade that's entering the ground with a fluted blade throwing soil up in the air to get that vertical movement. But Case IH, we also put a little bit of concavity to that blade so we get some horizontal soil movement as well.
Okay.
I like to think of vertical tillage as that blade entering the ground, and but basically residue management is how I like to view vertical tillage.
Okay. And how about the speed tiller, the high-speed disc?
So yeah, the 475, 465 is the 465 is our mounted high-speed disc. The 475 is our pull type.
Okay.
We got two new sizes now on the pull type, the 13 and 15 foot. So we go from 13 feet all the way to 41 feet on that 475 speed tiller. And them high-speed discs have really came to market quite a bit of activity and sales going on those in the agriculture world. And let's go to aggressively handle that farmer's residue. Mm-hmm. We're going to really mix that residue at top 3-4 inches, and but it's high speed. So that's where the name high-speed disc. So you're able to cover, with that higher speeds up to that 10, 12 miles an hour, you're able to cover the acres that you need to.
And in a little quicker time, too.
In a lot quicker time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we all like to save time, that's for sure.
We all like to save time.
Yeah.
Especially weather's coming in, and it seems like windows get shorter and shorter all the time.
No doubt. If people want to get a hold of you, CJ, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way to find out more about our vertical tillage options and our speed tillers would be to visit caseih.com or to visit their local dealer.
Okay. Excellent. CJ, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All righty.
All right, so we got a few things to talk about here. He used this word residue management quite often. I've listened to this interview 3 times. I still don't know what residue management is. Is it just that top layer of the soil? Is that what he's referring to?
So that was one of the notes that I wrote down too, that we want to make sure to clearly explain for everyone listening today. So when you talk about the residue on your soil surface, you're right. It's the plant material that's on top. Okay. And why does residue management matter? Because think about those times early in the summer and early in the spring where we don't have a lot of residue on the soil surface and we see soil below when the wind comes up. We want to try to keep residues on the soil surface to hold it in place. And additionally, that holds moisture for us. We use the root material of the plants to hold the soil, but then what's standing up, the stubble and so forth, will trap rain or snowfall to keep more moisture in the ground. So when it comes to residue management, you want to have the least amount of disturbance of that while you're still able to till the soil. Because as we've talked about, and I know Justin, you did the day that Dr. Joe Eichele was in studio with you, talked about the prevalence of resistant weeds and how that's becoming more and more of a problem with some of our pesticide chemistries. And so it's going to become more important for us to be able to use tillage because nothing escapes. No weed escapes can happen with tillage, right? They knock everything out. And we're going to need to use more tillage while we still manage our soil residue for moisture too. That'll be important. Does that make more sense?
It does completely. And are you familiar with what this vertical tillage is? Is that the same as traditional tilling or is it different?
So I'm going to go back to those of us who've been around a while, like me. All right. So I grew up using like chisel plows and field cultivators that a chisel plow would be just a narrow strip of metal into the ground. A field cultivator would have a sweep. It would be more like a V on the end of a narrow strip that would move more soil. With vertical tillage, you're looking to be able to have that narrowness, but go deeper into the ground for tillage or for soil movement. Okay. So that's what you're looking at for vertical tillage, because he talked about a thin blade. This was CJ was the guy talking. Thin blade without much soil disturbance. You could add a sweep or something wider onto it for more soil disturbance. And then that kind of leads to these high-speed discs. The high-speed disc is almost like a chopping action to cut up some of that plant material, that residue, but they're also able to do it at a wider width. So he said 13 to 41 feet. They're going to be able to go to a depth of 3 to 4 inches, and they're moving at 10 to 12 miles an hour. 10 to 12 miles an hour on a field is fast. I know it doesn't feel like it if you're like in a car, but if you were doing that in a tractor, right. But if you're in a tractor, that's a whole different situation. And so, yeah, we're seeing just improvements in tillage. Like as a kid, when I got sent out to do tillage, especially if I was sent to cultivate corn and I wasn't very good at it, and they called it cultivator blight because I accidentally like killed plants because I wasn't really straight and I didn't have GPS and it wasn't my favorite job. So I was kind of looking to get out of it anyway. Well, now, because you have all this precision and you can literally use GPS to set your plot on the field, you know, your AB lines, that means that it's going to go so much better. You're not going to be knocking things out of the field. I bet if you do tillage on Farm Simulator, Justin, you aren't losing any yield. You're not killing any crop. You're doing a great job.
Well, not completely. There's been a few times where, you know, you reach over and you come back and you got cruise control on the tractor and you're taking a plow right through your half-grown corn. So not going to say it hasn't happened before, but I can just control undo, load up.
Exactly. You can undo that. Yeah. You know, cultivating. And I helped my dad in the years where we did a lot more summer fallow, which meant that those were set aside acres that we did not actually plant that year. And you had to have weed control, but we didn't necessarily have a lot of pesticides that were economically convenient for us to use. So summer fallow just meant you went out and tilled that ground a number of times throughout the growing season. So dad always wanted to be like straight up and down the field, etc. I was a little less particular about what that looked like. I maybe had a few wavy lines.
Dad, we ain't doing straight lines. We're doing waves.
Yeah, I sort of got demoted real fast. Guess who got back to milking cows sooner than later? Right
what
here.
was worse?
I didn't necessarily mind milking except on days in July that was super hot with flies. That got real old real fast.
Kind of like what it was down in Baltic.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Well, we got another check on the forecast coming up here. We got to get up to date with the American Ag Network. When we come back, we'll hit the weather. We'll have our next interview with Roger Rutario from New Seed. And if we have time, we'll try and get to one of the 2 ag topics we still have in store. So stay tuned. Lots to come on Weather and Ag in Focus.
What do eyewear and weather have in common? Join us for the Aspire Optical Eye on the Sky weekly weather forecast to find out. Each Tuesday morning, Dean Wysocki, Justin Storm, and myself, Ashley Freeborn, owner of Aspire Optical, will bring you the 7-day forecast.
You never know where we'll be or how it will be presented, but we promise to bring you the most accurate forecast this side of the Red River.
And learn how you can save big on eyewear from Aspire Optical.
Watch the Aspire Optical Eye on the Sky weekly weather forecast on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages.
Trust us, this is weather and eyewear like you've never seen.
Join us on Tuesday at 10:06 a.m. when we bring you the Luther Family Ford Nonprofit of the Week on the Coffee Club. This is one of the most special things we do to honor and showcase our local nonprofits because they are the lifeblood of keeping our communities safe, fed, housed, educated, and more. Join us at 10:06 a.m. every Tuesday when we bring you another Luther Family Ford Nonprofit of the Week on WDAY's The Coffee Club.
The 4th of July may be over, but Red Wing Shoes is throwing a summer blowout sale like no other. Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. From work boots to hiking boots, even going out on the town boots. For a limited time, choose from select styles only, 30 to 80% off regular price. Why pay more when you can get footwear you need for less? Our summer blowout sale ends August 15th, so hurry in. 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
It's the Summer Ag Iron Auction 2023. It's time again for another Ag Iron event at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds in West Fargo. Mark your calendars for Wednesday, July 26th. That's Wednesday, July 26th. This is one of the largest auctions of the year, attracting buyers from all over the U.S. and Canada. And there will be live and internet bidding. Go to steffesgroup.com right now for more information, and we'll see you at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds in West Fargo, Wednesday, July 26th, for another Ag Iron event from Steffes Group. That's STEFFES Group.com.
Grain markets under heavy pressure on Monday. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this market update. Joining us now, Arlen Suderman, Chief Commodities Economist at StoneX, with our market analysis. Arlen, as we look at the grains and oilseeds wrapping up the month of July, Monday's trade is sharply lower, and I have to wonder, is it a cooler and wetter weather outlook? Is it just end of the month and computer algos and position squaring happening here? What's your thoughts with what's going on in this grain trade today?
Yeah, first of all, we just have to, whether we like it or not, we have to get used to the much bigger moves in both directions in these markets, and that's certainly true today as well. Is in absence of fresh fodder coming out of Ukraine, as far as something in the way of supportive news there at the war in Ukraine, and improved weather for the Midwest. And not everybody's going to get rain, but the rain chances certainly seem to be improving the rest of the month of August. It'll take a few days to kind of get going, but it looks like it's going to improve in much cooler temperatures. There will be occasionally periods of heat, but overall much cooler temperatures and wetter, and that should be good for grain fill for corn and for pod set for soybeans. And to see how much of the damage done during June and then the most recent heat streak that we can try to offset with the improved conditions in August. But the momentum trading algos is really piling on those sell orders then as we close out the month of July and close out the books, and really punishing these grain and oilseed markets here to finish the month.
All right. Well, we appreciate the time and analysis. Arlen Suderman with StoneX joining us here today. We look at the livestock trade, mixed action there to lower. Feeder cattle have found a little bit of green here and there, but overall a fairly quiet day. Crude oil up around 1%. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen.
And welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. So glad that you are here joining myself, Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with meteorologist Justin Storm. And now we're missing that other guy, Dean Wysocki.
Yeah,
He'll be around
guy.
tomorrow.
Maybe. I'm sure he'll have a PT appointment right at 1 o'clock.
Now, he did actually do some interviews last week down in Baltic, South Dakota at Hefty Seeds Ag PhD Field Day. And we have another one of those interviews that we'd like to play, I guess it's audio. And then Justin and I have some commentary to go along with it. Yeah. And so this is with Roger from New Seed, and we're going to cue that up and play it. And then, let's talk about sunflowers after that rolls. So here we go.
Well, it's a beautiful day out here at Ag PhD. And joining me today is Roger. Roger, explain exactly what you do.
Yeah, my name is Roger Rotario. I'm the North American marketing lead for New Seed. Okay. New Seed being a division of New Farm Chemical.
Okay. And you guys deal with sunflower seed products as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, most of your listeners and growers would recognize the New Seed name for our in the sunflower industry. We're one of the leading producers of sunflowers in the United States, and we're proud to be one of the very few, if only, research and development companies in the sunflower seed industry that has an R&D program for all 4 main classes of sunflower seed that are grown here in the United States, that being the high oleics, the mid oleics or New Sun, the con oil, mostly bird seed, and then the confection market.
Gotcha. And tell us a little bit about the omega-3 canola program that you guys have.
Omega-3 is an exciting canola program. So, as a canola seed company, we have the patented proprietary rights to genetically modified canola, but it's not genetically modified for herbicide tolerance. It's actually genetically modified for oil quality. So, omega-3 being a prime need for human health, i.e. brain health, eye health, but also for aquaculture industry. All farm-raised salmon, trout in the world require high levels of omega-3, naturally occurring from algae, processed by capelin, krill, herring, and that's normally harvested out of the oceans and fed to the aquaculture salmon industry. We are now producing that and replacing that harvested fish with our omega-3 canola. So we'll contract omega-3 canola acres throughout the Dakotas, into Montana, into Minnesota, and really, in some ways, saving our oceans from being harvested.
That's fantastic. Wow, that's awesome. And how about the New Seed commodity canola program? What can you tell us about that?
Well, at the end of the day, you need to have good genetics when you want to work with traits such as the omega-3 program. It's putting a trait in canola. So it's, I like to make the analogy. It's you got to have a real good truck before you worry about putting air conditioning or a tow package on it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So the genetics is the truck. In our commodity canola program, we've recently launched this in the last 4 years in North America. We are the leading canola seed company in Australia. We're an Australian-based organization, and we're now bringing those genetics into North America, United States, and Canada. And we're proud to be working hard on that genetic package to provide another option to growers in the region.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. So if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way they can contact you?
Probably the easiest is newseed.com. Go on, look online, get to the U.S. page. Maybe if you have some Canadian listeners, there's a Canadian page as well. But newseed.com /US, and you can get to our page, find out more about our sunflowers, canola, omega-3 programs, and find your local rep.
That's fantastic. Roger, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, you have a great day.
You as well.
All right, lots of things in that one as well. A lot of interesting
Justin.
stuff, too.
Okay, so first of all, God bless his Canadian accent, because when he said aquaculture, it took me a moment to hear what he was saying. But yes, fish farming, and he's talking about the canola for the oil, for healthy omega-3s, not only for humans, but for the fish that we consume, which are full of omega-3s. So look at that. We're tying together fish farming and grain farming.
When I think of agriculture, I don't assume fish, salmon, shrimp, even walleye. They farm raise walleye. So you don't think of
absolutely.
You don't think of that, but that's really interesting. My first thought that went behind this is if this becomes something that becomes more widely adopted, especially if they stop switching from fish source and start substituting some sort of canola oil-based food or whatever that it so happens to be, I could see that making a dent in the consumer price that they pay for salmon fillets at the grocery store or a box of skinned walleye at your restaurant, so you don't have to pay $22 for a slice of walleye. Maybe you can pay, I don't know, 16, something a little more manageable. But you don't have to go out to the ocean and fish all this other stuff.
Imagine a reduction in your grocery cost. Shocking.
Wow, wouldn't that be nice? So he had another thing in here. Yeah, go ahead, Bridgette.
No, go ahead. What was your other question?
So the other thing was with the sunflowers. I wanted to talk about the sunflowers. They said that they had an R&D program for the 4 classes of sunflowers. Most of those are grown here in North Dakota, I would imagine. But what would be the purpose of an R&D research on sunflowers, and what would they be researching into sunflowers?
Okay, so in sunflowers, you're looking for, can we get higher oil content out of them? Okay. Can we also change their stature? Because there's been lots of discussion about shorter stature sunflowers versus the really tall ones. So can we raise the same yield with a shorter stature flower with less foliage to make harvestability better? Because when you have to thrash so much stuff, that becomes a bit of an issue. And remember, sunflowers, highly flammable. So the less you run through the combine, the better. Combine fire season is upon us. Let's be careful.
Yes, it is. Something to be keep a reminder on, and we'll touch on that as we come throughout the week ahead. We have more interviews coming up throughout the week, as well as a good handful of guests. Quick forecast recap: mid-80s today, partly cloudy to partly sunny. Can't rule out an isolated shower throughout the course of this afternoon, just quite unlikely. Tomorrow, scattered storms around the area. A few could be strong to severe through the mid-morning into the overnight hours. So we'll have a full look on that forecast coming up here with the Jay Thomas Show, which will be starting right after this break.
AM 970 and FM 93.1, WDAY, Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo.